year to you. It's Wednesday, January 1st, 2024. Mental health is real. Seek help, end the stigma. On the news this afternoon, Port Harcourt residents celebrate New Year with fanfare. Speak on New Year's resolutions. President Tinubu, Governor Fubara, others greet Nigerians on New Year. Bauchi State Governor vows not to apologize to presidency over tax reform bills. And on the foreign scene, South Korea's transport ministry says investigators have finished extracting data from black boxes in fated Jeju airplane crash. I'm Ifichukwu Moina with the news. Now, Port Harcourt residents today joined the rest of the world to usher in the new year with prayers at their various crossover services. Others gathered at Fun Sport to light up their fireworks and amid jubilation and fanfare. Our correspondent caught up with some Port Harcourt residents who spoke about their New Year resolutions.
Expectations you place or targets you give yourself whenever you are approaching the new year, there are goals set aside for you to look up to. It's just to, let's say, have a stable source of income and then good health, to make sure I eat well, because health is wealth too. So after having a major source of income, I think it's just to maintain myself and
to be more busy, like positively busy, going to start school and pursue all the things I initiated last year and finished them. Limit my friends' successes, like be able to stand my ground and say no to things I don't want, and strengthen my boundaries with people.
Meanwhile, a Port Harcourt-based life coach, The Great Sam, has emphasized the importance of starting immediately to achieve your New Year's resolutions. Speaking to our correspondent, Onyeka Chinwosu, The Great Sam said, having resolutions alone is not enough. He also stressed the need to surround oneself with the right people.
Do it now. Do what you need to do now. Don't bother about tomorrow. Make sure that your now is always relevant. People look at the 1 year, 12 years, 12 months. That's when procrastination comes in. So do what you need to do now as regards to your goal. The number 2 will be set up an accountability system for yourself, a record keeping system, whereby maybe every week or every day you do a jotting exercise. What I may say, okay, I've achieved this, I've done this, I've done this. You must break your goals into chunks. I tell people, if you know you're not disciplined enough, don't try writing 1 year goal. Break it in quarters.
He also spoke on key steps to take before writing your resolutions.
Starting point of resolution is frequent feedback or cross-examination of the past. Many times we just make a resolve without even considering, okay, what did you solve in the past that is making you to resolve another one? Just like the word resolve. So that means you solved something and the answer, just like mathematics, was not correct. Now you want to get another one. So what are you resolving from? What are you resolving from? That's the big question we should ask ourselves. People should just make it very clear. If you are making a resolution, because of the past, you are considering the past, a feedback of the past. Therefore, you're now making an improvement.
The Great Sam also further highlighted common pitfalls to avoid.
So reasons why people don't get their resolutions achieved at the end of the year. Number 1, the road goals that they don't even have a plan to get to it. They wrote a goal hoping that as they wrote the goal and wave it up maybe in the church, it will just come to pass. Writing the goal is easy. The major aspect is drawing and executing a plan. Number 2 reason is that they are actually lazy. You want an easy life. You wish for change, but you're not ready to commit to change. Then number 3, the work of the devil. That means that when you plan a thing, Satan will fight. The hand of the devil is not strong enough compared to your own hand.
In the meantime, River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has expressed solid faith in the omnipotence of God to crush self-styled enemies of the state and its people. Governor Fubara spoke at the crossover into 2025 church service held at St. Paul's Anglican Church, Opobo Town in Opobonkoro local government area in the early hours. In the early moment of January 1st, he said, and I quote, "The red barrel is still filled. It is still here with me. Every plan of the enemy will continue to crash." Also, the former chairman of Akokotoro local government area, Roland Sekibo, has extended his New Year greetings to the people of the area as they welcome 2025. In his message, Dr. Sekibo described the New Year as a time for reflection, gratitude, and renewed hope for a brighter future. He acknowledged the challenges faced over the past year, but commended the resilience, support, and commitment of the people toward the community's progress. He called on everyone to embrace the values of unity, hard work, and love for one another while fostering collaboration to build a community they can all be proud of. He also reaffirmed his dedication to initiatives that enhance the quality of life for every resident of Akokotoro. Dr. Segibo, on behalf of his family, wished the people of Akokotoro a prosperous, peaceful, and fulfilling 2025 filled with abundant blessings and new opportunities. Still on the New Year message, President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians of his government's resolve to boost food production and reduce inflation on food and drugs to 15% while strengthening the economy in 2025. The president said this in his New Year message. He also highlighted economic growth indicators, including lower fuel prices, rising foreign reserves, and a stronger naira as signs of progress in 2024 that would continue into 2025. The president acknowledged that the cost of food and essential drugs remained a significant concern for many Nigerian households in 2024. The president further also planned to unveil the National Values Charter already approved by the Federal Executive Council in the first quarter of 2025. The People's Democratic Party has called on President Bola Tinubu to probe and recover over 25 trillion naira leaders allegedly stole by I take that again. Now, the People's Democratic Party has called on President Bola Tinubu to probe and recover over 25 trillion naira allegedly stolen by leaders and government officials of the All Progressive Congress. In its new message signed by its publicity secretary, Debo Ologunwawa, the party also urged the president to address the critical challenges of insecurity, food and fuel supplies to ease suffering among Nigerians. The PDP also urged the president to address the issue of deceit, budget padding, reckless and wasteful spending directed to fund luxury appetite of the APC. Still to come, Bauchi State Governor vows not to apologize to presidency over tax reform bills. Stay with us. Now the rest of the news. Former Chief Medical Director of the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, Aaron Ojule, says the health sector will maintain some stability in 2024 despite all the challenges in the economy. Professor Ojule, who was speaking on how the health sector fared in the last year, told correspondent Martha Okere that health officials did their best to keep healthcare services going, but it could have been better. He said the health sector needs more investment and technology to meet international standards. He, however, commended the government for facilitating training in medical schools and called for more funding for such training.
We are proud of what has been achieved, although it could have been better. We need more investments in new equipment, new technology to bring our health sector to international standards. We need more investment into training, but we must praise those that are still left within the health sector. You know, there has been a lot of immigration, but thank God for those that are still left behind. Many more medical schools have been established, and they are filling the gap to continue with training. We must also commend the government for facilitating training.
Professor Ojule, who is also a chemical pathologist, said the emergency preparedness index of the Nigerian health sector is very low, and in that there are gaps in the public health sector, especially in terms of surveillance.
Like in Rivers State here, I don't think we have any public health laboratory. Most of what we have are service laboratories attached to tertiary institutions. At the federal level, is only one, the NCDC laboratory, which is not good enough. So each state has to develop a public health laboratory, and from the data generated from public health laboratories, if there are emerging diseases, alerts could be raised. But for now, we don't have, and there is no funding for those public health laboratories, even in this year's 2025 budgets of the various state governments.
And now to education. Employment of teachers and funding for schools topped some of the changes needed in the public school system. An educationist, Monday Peters, tells our correspondent that enough funding for the educational system will reduce the out-of-pocket spending by head teachers and principals of public schools. He also called on the Rivers State government to look at the infrastructure of some public schools in the state.
We don't have teachers. You can imagine a school of about 500, you have only had one head teacher in the school. So the school system needs teachers. Another thing, the legislature, they can fund the sector, because when there is no money in the sector, it looks as if the private sector, they are doing better than the government, which it is not so. Private sector, they don't have qualified teachers like the government owns. They should fund the place, because now school is fully open now.
Away from that, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says Nigeria has requested for Simon Ekpa's extradition. Chief of Defense Staff CDS confirmed this yesterday. The CDS said the requirement for the extradition of the separatists have been forwarded to Finland government. The CDS also said the sit-at-home propagated by Ekpa and his allies in the southeast is wearing off because of the operations of the military. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed says he stands by his comment on the proposed tax reforms by President Bola Tinubu. In a statement, Governor Bala Mohammed said he cannot be threatened as a governor. He said his comments are not meant to malign, insult, or to do anything to the contrary. Recall that the Bauchi State Governor warned that the presidency should not be arrogant about the tax reform bills, but listen to the people. In business, the Nigerian Labour Congress has called for the withdrawal of the tax reform bills submitted by President Bola Tinubu to the National Assembly. In its New Year message to Nigerians, the President of the Union, Joe Ajero, emphasized the need for the government to prioritize citizens' welfare and address the rising cost of living in 2025. He called for a more inclusive process involving key national stakeholders. The NLC President described the bills as controversial, particularly in northern regions where they have been criticized as detrimental to economic growth. In entertainment, some Nigerians have criticized Grammy Award winner Burna Boy for unceremoniously exiting the stage during a concert in Lagos after a fan invaded the stage. In sport, Stoke City have appointed former Coventry boss Mark Robbins as their new manager on a 3.5-year deal.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
South Korea's transport ministry says investigators have finished extracting data from one of the black boxes from the fated Jeju airplane that crashed on Sunday. The data from the cockpit voice recorder will now be converted into an audio file, while a second black box, a flight data recorder, will be sent to the United States for analysis. Investigators hope data on the flight and voice recorders will provide insight about the crucial moments leading up to the tragedy which killed 179 people.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
That's a wrap on the news this afternoon. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. Port Harcourt residents joined others to celebrate the new year with fanfare, and they also spoke on their New Year's resolutions. President Tinubu, Governor Fubara, and others have greeted Nigerians on this new year. Bauchi State Governor has vowed not to apologize to presidency over tax reform bills. And on the foreign scene, you heard South Korea has retrieved the data from plane crash. The news was edited by Onyeka Chimusu. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I am Ifechukwu Moyeli. Many thanks for listening. Happy New Year once again.